Welcome to the Dirty Sheets podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We are back once again, as usual, on your Friday delight. I'm Cav Manning. I am from the Lingus Mafia podcast. You can get all my nonsense at Lingus Mafia on Twitter. We also do patreon.com/Lingus Mafia. This week is the Miss Lingus 2023 that will be revealed. And Billy and I will talk about it, give you a couple odds on who should win this year and how people are going to vote, why they would vote for things. It's going to be up every guy's alley. I'm along with the guy you're here to listen to, the guy who gets in trouble by everybody. We're going to talk about some tweets that went out this week. It's Mr. Billy Body. What's happening, Billy Boy?
Well, a lot this week.
Yes. I will waste no time. I saw right away. I was like, I tool around Twitter, and I like to look at what you're yelling at. And then I see Konnan yelled at you. And I would like to give a rebuttal as well. And I'll go first. Mine will be shorter. So I see he said, I don't follow you. First of all, that's like the smack in the face, too, where it's, I don't follow you, but people have been saying you bash us on your Twitter, so I came here to see for myself. And then it was, if you don't fucking like it, you don't know how to fucking, you never learn, it called you a bitch in the fucking thing. And, if you don't like it, if you don't leave the show, then I could just kick you to fuck off. It's one of those things, right? So I'm like, wait a minute. All you did was say they don't read positive emails from me. And if you have questions, send them to me and I'll reply. And then there was a video of you on another podcast practically jerking off Konnan for being such a good guy and saying he's like a father figure to you that reins you in and talks sense to you and treats you nicely and that you really like the guy. And you've told me stories off the air where I've told stuff to my co-host Fausti, and we both said the same thing, like, wow, Konnan really seems like a really fucking good guy. Like, true life, no bullshit, a good man. And I'm like, where the fuck did it come from where it's, fuck you, if you want to talk shit? And I'm like, you didn't, what are you talking about? So have you talked to him since then and said, what are you fucking talking about?
You can't have that conversation with him. Like, once he's annoyed, like he's decided that he's right, like there's no point having a conversation. So he talked to me at the start of the show. I just sat there and listened to what he had to say in terms of, if you keep doing this, like if you bury the show, if you keep bringing problems to the show, like more problems than positives, like we'll kick you off. Like he goes, I don't need this. He goes, we've defended you. This goes defended you, blah, blah, blah. My perspective is you don't need to defend me. You just don't need to read out the emails. Like that would just actually protect me more and your show and the credibility of the show. I've said that before, but they've done the whole route of we're keeping it 100. We read out all the emails. Like we read them about me, Konnan, me, Disco,
sure,
and Joe. We all get, why should you be any different? I'm like, all right, well, I've explained that to you, but you clearly haven't listened to me. So I explained, I didn't bother explaining it again, but the explanation that I previously gave was that I've been on the steel cage. I've been on here on this show now since 2016. 2015 the show started. I've been on Sportskeeda. I've been on Wrestling Inc. I've been on fucking Wrestle Zone. I've been on Russos Show. I've been now on K100. And there is a group of fucking losers. One of them's definitely listening now, Aiden, the psycho. But there's another group, there's a group of them. It's not just him. He's just the most obvious one, the idiot that makes himself the most obvious. But there's, that follow me around from show to show.
Mm-hmm.
And when these guys get these emails and whatnot, they think that, it's turning off their listeners and they might lose some money and people are going to unsubscribe or whatever. It's like, dude, they subscribe because I came here. They subscribe so they can hear what I'm saying. They listen to shows. When I go to other shows, yes, I take some of the Dirty Sheets people with me, but I also take the haters with me. The haters are equally as interested in what I have to say. So
sure, it's the old Howard. It's the old Howard thing of why do you listen to him if you hate him? Because I want to see what he's going to say next. That's pretty much it.
Right. Or I can see what I can get them cancelled for, or in 2023, it's like, oh, how can I get them cancelled?
Yeah.
Like, what can I clip to send to here, there, or whatever? So that's what they're doing. And I tried to explain that to him, and I said, have more of a filter. No, we don't do that. Cool. All right, don't fucking do it. Like, but at the end of the day, like, I'm trying to make money here, and the difference, they always say, like, we do it for us, we do it for you. Cool. It's your platform, though. Like, you guys are making most of the money. You don't need to do anything else. It's not going to affect Konnan as the booker of AAA, and it's not going to affect Disco managing a strip club. But it does affect me, because I'm supposed to have a serious job where I advise people in what to do with their money. So when I'm discredited in that way, it makes it look like, oh, I don't want to listen to his wrestling news. He's a clown. And B, I certainly don't want to fucking invest my money in what this guy says, because his own show portray him as a clown. So the whole purpose of me going on there, trust me, it's not for what they pay me, is to have an audience and a second audience to promote my additional content to, of which none of them have had any growth since I've gone over there. In fact, I lost my fucking Patreon. I'm down $10,000 a month, of which I've only recouped about 60% of it. So yeah, I'm down $4,000 a month. So, but and I'm not saying that that's the show's fault, but I'm also saying that, but I am saying it's pretty coincidental that I went on there, started to have this massive group of trolls who write in about me and write on the YouTube videos every week, and suddenly someone's got my Patreon cancelled when there's a fucking 100 other gambling Patreons on there. In addition to that, we have Husey, the idiot on YouTube, instigating negative comments, editing down our videos, putting out 48 minutes of a Brad Shepard video, allowing people to call my kid trans and not deleting the comment, which would have taken him seconds to do, but letting it sit up there because he fucking enjoys it. And then we got Joe, who actually, I like Joe because I met Joe out in Nashville, but I think, I felt for a while that Joe might, because the show comes first, I felt like that they might think they have a good bit there, because I feel that when you give something, when one or two people complain or say shit, which is fine, but if you give it so much oxygen, it becomes a bit, because people in this day and age are free to jump on a bandwagon. We just recently saw idiots wearing masks and listening to ridiculous rules about 6 foot social distancing, and everybody did it because we're at we're at an age when no one can think for themselves. So when you see people all emailing in and they know they're going to get their emails read, it's just like, oh, that's like the theme. Let's fucking go down that route. Like, oh, that's fun. Like, I want to send a Billy hate message too. So I'm not saying you don't hate me. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, there's loads to hate. If you're on that side of things, if you're vaccinated, or you fucking believe that, if you believe that trans rights exist or should exist, or you don't think there's a black privilege, or you vote for Joe Biden, you probably do hate me. That's fine. There's going to be people like that. But I don't think it's the amount that, that write in. And what I definitely don't think, and what I know is a fact, the positive emails about me are not getting read, because the reason I said that was because I unleashed something on Twitter called message requests. And message requests was a whole bunch of people sending me nice messages, but a lot of them saying, hey, that thing you said about K100, I didn't get my message read, and I didn't get my message read, and I didn't get my message read. So I was just like, fuck it. Like, not only am I going to then say this and draw a line under it, because now I know why the show's like that, because I feel like the negative one picked and chosen, but I'll try and monetize this for myself, because I'm not monetizing much from that show. So I thought to myself, I'll just turn around and say, you know what? I'll do a fucking mailbag. I'll answer questions, because this is the thing about that show that annoys me the most. And as I said, I'm not going to change my tune. I like Konnan. I respect Konnan. He's been good to me. He's reined me in. He's given me freedom to a certain extent, not as much as Russo, because Russo's totally out of the wrestling industry. Don't give a fuck. But Konnan does. He's still got to work with certain people. So it's not as free as Russo. But when he's explained it exactly like that, which I respect. So I'm not going to change my tune on these guys just because of this dispute where I don't feel that they listen to me and this all went on deaf ears. But ultimately, the part they don't understand is I've been here on this show for fucking 8 years and did the other show with those other ones for 2 years before that. So we're looking at 10 years of podcasting now. Once I get to this WrestleMania, that'll actually be 10 years. The first show I did was the WrestleMania after, where I met these idiots at their fucking WrestleCon table. And I told them that I listened, and they couldn't believe they had a listener in London. And then they saw when they saw my Twitter was verified, and I was willing to go on their show, they knew they'd hit like fucking gold, basically. So yeah, I mean, I carried that fucking shit on my shoulders for 2 years.
Hey, you meeting them made me meet you, so.
Right, yeah, exactly. So not everything was good.
There you go.
So yeah, like, I mean, fucking. So this is the thing they don't understand. Like, so for years and years and years, I've been fucking carrying that show and fucking got recruited by Raj, and who hates me now, and Sports Keto, who hate me now,
Yeah,
and Russo, who I. Right, what's that? Sorry.
He loved you before, though, didn't he?
All these people did. All these people love me until you know until the Saps and the Satins and these people got in their heads, and they're doing it again. This is all this has been caused by. I had another run-in today, and Sean Ross Sapp going straight to Disco about my tweet, and Disco called me just before I went on a podcast and said, "Why did you send that tweet?" Which was actually a dumb move on my part. I shouldn't have fucking added Disco in it. I basically predicted that Sean would DM Disco because I released his news, because he does it every
DMs
time.
Everybody.
And well, he did. He DM'd Disco like I predicted in the tweet, and Disco took that as me involving him in the shit.
Yeah.
It wasn't how I saw things and wasn't my intention. I did actually apologize because I knew it was dumb. But ultimately, getting back to my point, I don't think these people understand that I've been doing this for ages. I bring an audience with me anyway, right? So it's like, to them, it's kind of like, oh, you know, we got this guy on, and it's bringing trouble and all that. But that's the thing, like, the trouble, like, was the haters and that have been accumulated around for years and years and years. Like that's going to happen. But the positive side of things are just completely overlooked in terms of, yeah, I do bring an audience with me. And yes, I get asked all the time when people are reasonable to me, whether they've got fucking 500 listeners or 5,000 listeners a week, I've been doing all of their shows. Like, I've been doing interviews. I'm doing podcasts all the time, as you know. Like, they're not paying me. I just do them to promote my stuff. And amongst my stuff, I promote their stuff. For the little money they're paying me, I promote the fucking shit out of them and put them over. So that one podcast sent me a clip of that, of which I sent to Konnan. And I spoke to him about it yesterday. I was like, going, do you never see like any of the other stuff that I do? And he was like, no. And he said to me, no, I didn't listen to that. I didn't have time. I wasn't interested.
Shit.
Well, it was like, I'm supposed to like take this on the chin and have this lecture about, you know, this big problem that I am, but you don't want to see how I go out and do and what I do away from the show and what I do for the show. So it was like, I was pissed off about it. But as I said, once it was in that mood, there was no fucking point, because he's just not going to back down. So it was just a case of me, one of those rare times where I was just like, fuck it, like, just fucking get told off. Let them fucking believe that, you know, they read every email, and they kept saying positive emails are not ignored. Positive emails are not ignored. You don't listen to the Patreon. Like, there's a 2.5 hour show. I was like, yeah, but some of my Patreons are your Patreons, and they don't tell me this stuff. And they were like saying, and one thing they did say is, well, people aren't going to tell you the good stuff because the good stuff's not interesting to you. People are only going to tell you the bad stuff. And that is true. That is like how people are. But the bottom line is that, like, I just feel overall, and some of our listeners here feel overall, that I'm not portrayed in the best light. And I feel that things could just be helped by just not bothering with the emails. Or if you have emails about me, just read them when I'm on there. Like, because they turn around and say, oh, we all get hate mail. But you read it to each other and then you address it by yourselves. All the stuff about me is being addressed behind my back. And yeah, they do defend me, but it's like I can defend myself. So it's just very, very frustrating, because it's like I'm sitting there taking these fucking bullets. I feel that it's not helping me make money anywhere else, because, as I said, like, it's discrediting me. And I assume all of the sort of similar emails came to Russo, but I think Russo, as a person who works for him and is somebody who is a contributor on his show, he made the decision that I'll protect my asset, because I think Russo looks at people as assets to his show. Like, I'm going to protect my assets. I'm going to try and make money with these people. I want them to be. Well, he used to do that thing where he used to go, oh, it's the great Billy Barty and all that every week. Yeah. Like, there's nothing great, there's nothing great about me. I've not achieved like anything in this industry or anything, but it's like, he put me over like every single week, as in like this was a big thing that we all look forward to every week. He'd go and do 10 minutes on YouTube. There's none of that here. It's just like, I'm just the thing who goes on the show, but I'm the only one who's judged by statistical data. Like they have no pressure. They've done WCW like 20 years ago, and they can go on there and they just give their opinions and they get paid a lot of money. That's cool for them. And it doesn't matter like if they're getting hate mail or not. All they need to do is get the people to continue to subscribe. For me, it's a fucking pressure situation for 1 hour a week. I got to fucking talk about sports. If everything I say is wrong, I'm a fucking idiot. I got to go and talk about news. If everything I say is wrong, I'm a fucking idiot. I'm under more pressure in that one that I do on their show than they are on every show that they do. But again, nobody understands. Nobody cares. Like, it's just a case of, oh, you're a troublemaker. Like, oh, you bring heat to the show. It's like, well, yeah, I also bring a lot of people to the show too. So, I mean, it's just fucking, it's a situation that keeps like repeating itself. Like, I've now gone to the stage of just taking the K100 out of my Twitter completely.
What is it now?
Because that just Billy Wrestling, which I managed to get.
Oh, it's Billy Wrestling. No shit.
Yeah. So Billy Wrestling. The only part is the weird bit will be the I, Billi. I have to keep fucking spelling it, but ultimately, that's the route I've gone down. But I'm sure there'll be another thing like later on. It'll be like, oh, did you say this, or so and so's pissed off about that, and or you're under to this thing. But it's just like, it's just an ongoing thing that I don't think will stop unless I completely change. But then the most annoying part is that I don't want to talk about this too much longer.
We need to move on. You've done half the show already.
Yeah, but it's a fucking long thing, isn't it? But the thing is that we went over there to do Russos Show without Russo, which is what they wanted. And then they decided that after we decided to stop, they then turn around and got some fucking bullshit info from that idiot Hughes and was like, oh, this show's not actually making enough money. He said the last show, Hughes said, we don't want to do Wrestling Informer. The last show did $3. To which I said to Konnan, the last show was in September. I said, if it took $3 in December, that's actually not bad. It's not even bad that people are still actually even watching it. Who the fuck watches a 2-month-old show about news? The fact that it made $3 is a fucking miracle. So, like, he's obviously tried to like manipulate the data and whatnot. And he goes, oh no, we'll give it a break. He goes, it's too much trouble with you and Hughesy arguing. He goes, oh, the show I want is the one I saw with you and your kid. And it's like, okay, I just told you that we haven't done the show for 3 months. So you came at me and said, let's just give the show a rest and not start it again. And I just told you that the show's not even been happening. So, like, what one is it? Do you not want the show, or do you not want the show if it's not making any money? But it was like never discussed. Again, open-ended thing. I want that show now. Like, I want the kids show instead. Cool, that's fine. but I came over to do the other show. The other show promotes, the other show helps my Patreons on my dirty sheets. And look, as I always said, I said it to Russo, I can say it to these guys again. If they just pay me a lot more, or if they pay me what I get for the other podcast, then me trying to promote my other shit doesn't matter. If I was paid well, then it'd be a case of, you know what, I've got no right to come on here and plug my stuff. Because remember, Sports Gambling Podcast had a word of me last year, and it was like, you need to lay off the lot betting. You need to he goes, you can't read our ads and then read your ads for the same amount of time. So now it's just a case of, I just say, my Twitter account is @lockbettingcom. That's the Twitter account for the service that has provided 117 months in a row of transparent track profit. The spreadsheet is available to look at as the pin tweet on Twitter @lockbettingcom. That's it. That's all I do. So they're cool with that, because it's like 20, 30 seconds. If something significant happens, if I had a really big week, I will plug it in. But they essentially told me, you can't talk about lock betting for the first 3 minutes of every show. Fair enough. You pay me $100, or you pay me $100 to do a 20-minute show. How can I fucking cry about it? I can't, because it's fair pay. It's fair money, right? Mm-hmm. This isn't that. It's like, we want to pay you we don't want to pay you that what they pay you. I'm not going to say what they pay me, but we don't want to pay you what they pay you. We also want to control what you say publicly. And we're not going to help. We're not really helping you to monetize your other shows, because we read emails that make you look like a fucking clown. So what the fuck am I supposed to do? And then the shit hits the fan when all your listeners are telling you that they are writing in. And you know what? Continue to write in. I will give you the fucking email at the end of the show, and you write in, and you tell me if your emails get read. And we'll leave it at that.
So another guy who was getting canceled and has decided to come back is Brad Shepard, a guy who you didn't like in the beginning and now have a brother in arms. I was talking to him the other day and welcoming him back. And it's funny because it's like, people get, canceled, or, he had a craziness where people are threatening, his house and, family, which is like, what the fuck somebody has an opinion about something, and it's fucking ridiculous. You have opinions, and so does Brad, that are completely different from mine. And it's like, okay, enjoy your opinion. You're my buddy. It doesn't fucking affect me. And if
I tell you a Patreon that would kill it. If he does his show, fine. If I do his show and he does my, if I keep doing the show with you and he does his own show, but then we say, oh yeah, we also do another podcast. We do one together, but that's behind a paywall. That's a fucking money. That's a moneymaker. If me and him never talk together, but we only do it behind a paywall.
I have said this, and it drives me crazy, because I think you, the Zero News guy, and Brad should have a Patreon together where it is a news source and also opinions, and I could host in the middle of there somewhere, but it's you three that are the people. And you guys could each have a separate show. You guys could do a round table together. The amount of shit that would come toward that, as in good shit, as in people subscribing and going, I really think it's a way to do it. I know you guys are all making money on your own things as well, so it kind of got into things a little bit, but it would be it could be an opinion area, or it could be a news area where it's your go-to for everything, that are people that are like-minded. And also a place where everybody who hates you guys can go to fucking listen as well and try to cancel you. You're behind a paywall. It's not like you guys are saying go out and kill people, or the white race of this. And there's nothing like that. It's opinions about things. And you guys have opinion about vaccine. I have opinion about vaccine, the opposite way or whatever. But it's okay. That's your thought. And God bless you. I have an opinion where I said, guess what? There was a thing that fucking nobody knew what the fuck this was when it first came out. No one had a fucking clue of how it was transferred. Nothing. So you listen to a scientist. It's no skin off my nose that my world didn't fucking come to an end. It's over now. if some people in the stores still, I see the fucking half the people, not half, but I still see people wearing shit, right? Wearing masks. You kind of laugh about it. But it doesn't affect me. I don't care if somebody walked through the fucking store in a spacesuit. I don't give a fuck. It doesn't fucking affect me anything at this point. I was annoyed as hell wearing a mask, having to go in a grocery store in the beginning because I was told what to do and you couldn't go in the store unless you did. It was their property. You would have to just listen to what they fucking say. I was pissed the gyms were closed. There's a lot of shit I was fucking pissed off about. But it is what it is. And in the long run, gives a fuck when it comes down to it. So he has his opinions about, he thinks, Trump should win. I heard your opinion where you said, I like the Trump stuff, but I'm more with DeSantis because of the fucking, it's too divided when it comes to Trump. I'm not thrilled with either of them. I'm not saying I'm thrilled with fucking Biden either. He's a bit fucking old and could be done with as well. But I'm like, guess what? You're my buddy, Billy. And, Brad is kind of a buddy that I'm not like best buddies with him and talk all the time. But he's a fine fucking guy. Okay. You guys have opinions about things. I mean, if you guys are going around saying, the fucking neo-Nazi race is the fucking way to go and people should be wiped off the planet, it's a different fucking story. It's like, this guy's a fucking real fucking monster. That's a very different thing than to say, I have an opinion about this. And especially when he has an opinion about Daniel Bryan. Who fucking cares? That's all right. Well, now we can have a discussion if, for Daniel Bryan. That's not the end of the fucking world. But because he had one thing where he's like, they should have never, strayed from going with their storyline. This is the storyline. And I'm like, I'm completely opposite, saying, no, the fans kind of should dictate. And it wasn't like a silent, a loud minority. It was a lot of fucking people. So, and it changed it, which is like, wrestling is kind of made by the fans by being boisterous and what they want to see in storylines. And it's kind of, that's how people are made in wrestling, where the fans like a certain guy. So I have no problem with it, but that's where life is quite fucking lovely, Billy. And you can debate people and have debates and then afterwards go out and have a fucking drink with them, even if you don't agree with it. It's just so fucking weird now where people are like, I'm fucking telling on you. That's what it is come to. This Karen deal and all that shit. It's with their woke, whatever you want to fucking call it. It's an adult version of I'm telling on you, which is real fucking weird because when you were a kid, it was always there that one kid like, oh God, a tattletale. He's going to fucking tell on me. And that's what those people are. They're fucking, I'm going to tell on you because you have a different opinion than me. Who gives a fuck? Everyone's supposed to be a fucking robot and have the same exact fucking opinion, I guess. But I'm glad Brad's back and fucking, I don't know if you don't, it's the old line of, if you don't like it, don't fucking listen. Turn the fucking channel if you don't fucking like it. Your thoughts, Billy?
Yeah, I was actually messaging him a lot to come back, like when it happened, because this is the thing. Like these people who claim to be the most righteous people, always have like the right opinions, always on the right side. Just the nice people, which that they claim to be, they're always the ones that dox you with the doxing in terms of getting the people to attack you in
They're the most corrupt, fucking horrible people, the ones that are fucking all so righteous. You find out so much shit about them.
Yeah, that's the thing. They come at you in groups. You even see them exchanging messages, and they show screenshots. And it was like, oh, guess what? Oh, here's his work email. Here's his phone number. Like, oh, someone should email his work, and they say, and they all go. When it happens, they go, oh yeah, well, see, it happened to me. It'd be like, oh, I sent them. They send screenshots of their Twitter reports, and they say, oh, here's mine, and then they show that like, previously it'd be like, oh, I've written to, previously Nick said to me, oh, they've written to our servers. They were writing into Patreon before, which is why I suspect that's what's happened again, and they share it and they encourage each other to do it. Cool. Right. So I've got an opinion that you don't like. So you're going to cancel my income, and I use that income eat and to feed a kid. So that's going to be the end result. My opinion will result in me going, yeah, sorry, son, like we're fucking having to sell our stuff because we have to sell things now because the income that we used to have from doing a job no longer exists because it got cancelled by people because I think too many black wrestlers are being pushed in wrestling. So it's like fucking, that's what happens. But they're the ones that are in the right.
So someone can't reply and say, oh, you're crazy. Here's my reasons why I don't think that's the case. And have a fucking conversation. You can't.
If it's not in line with what the majority of people think, you can't do it. And this is where it gets really fucked up, right? Get this for a segue. Because I know it was coming next on the show. Actually, it's not a good segue because I think Ripley's supposed to be the Miss Lingus was supposed to be next, but we can jump around.
But we'll get into we're gonna get into Rhea too.
I'll make my point. And we'll circle back. Like these people, they want to go along with all this like new woke stuff. They want to be, oh, you can't say like you don't like track like people can identify as what they want, and you know, and I'm just like, there's a boy, there's a girl, and there's lunatics, right? Yeah, and they're all like, oh, people can identify as what they want, and they're always with the next thing. Oh yeah, Ukraine, and like, oh, let's support the Ukraine, and it's like, okay, it's a different fucking thing all the fucking time. It's fucking rainbow flags, and it's Ukrainians, and it's the fucking Black Lives Matter, and look at how fucking black people are acting, by the way, over the last 3 years. They're now just gang beating up white people in the streets, and like, you know, like, so that really worked out really well for you guys. But yeah, I mean, fucking.
By the way, Billy's not white, by the way, if because I think everybody puts you in the white category, which is funny to me.
Right? Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I'm my dad's actually an African Muslim.
Yeah,
so
Billy's fucking Muslim, for God's sake. Not like he's practicing.
So I have it. So yeah, that's the thing. I have everything covered. Like I think I have the pass to talk about everything. And the thing is, I'm fair anyway, and I got loads of like black friends. Like, so I don't give a, you know.
Go into that card. I have black friends.
But there's the thing. What I'm saying is, like, there's nothing that I can say here that I you know wouldn't say in front of them, or that I'm worried about them hearing. Like, so that this is the thing. Like, I think that Black Lives Matter was all cultivated. Like, it was all done on purpose. I think if anything, like, it's brewed more dislike towards black people rather than equality. When you're looking at people feeling like, oh, hold on a minute, there's now loads of black people, like, there's loads of football, there's loads of black pundits now doing football. Suddenly, since that, like, we had one guy called Micah Richards doing it, and he was relatively, like, funny. And then we have, like, now we have, like, these pieces of wood, like, these fucking black guys that can't fucking speak, and they're fucking boring. Like, we got some big fucking some big muscly guy who's known just for being a big footballer called Adiakum Fenwa, and he can't fucking speak. He's absolutely awful. We got another player called Emil Heskey. He's on television. He's awful. But, you know, you see all of these things since that happened, all of these black hires, which is something that I was saying was happening in wrestling. And that's the thing, like, you know, you wanted all this. Like, you guys wanted it all. And bringing it round to what I was going to say, amongst all these things that they wanted in their little woke world where they just went along with everything like sheep and took their 5 jabs like idiots, they wanted women's wrestling. They wanted the hashtag, where it started with give divas a chance, and then it became like get rid of divas completely so that we got no tits and no ass. And these men wanted them to stop showing women as sex objects. They wanted women to wear more clothes. They wanted women to stop showing their tits and ass, and they wanted them to wrestle. They did not want any more Sunnies and Sables and Tori Wilsons and Stacy Keibler. These men wanted these women and these types of women, these divas, these hot, attractive women that could kind of wrestle if they had to, but were just there for you to look at. No. They didn't want to look at them. They wanted them to wrestle. They wanted less attractive women who could actually wrestle, and for the eye candy, want to be off TV. This is what happens when your fan base have never touched a woman, so they decide that they're going to go down this route where they're like, fuck you. Like, I've just given up. Like, so I've just given up on that. Don't tease me. I've given up.
They also do that thing to where they do the defending of the woman on Twitter, thinking I've always laughed because I've replied to certain things where they're like, how dare you? And they want to be the shining knight. And I'm like, yeah, because now the girl's going to be like, oh, thank you so much. I'm going to fuck you now. It's ridiculous. Like they try to be the fucking swoop in. And speaking of hot chicks, let's pivot to that, Billy.
Well, I didn't finish my point.
Go ahead.
I was just finishing that point. So my point was, one of the things they wanted was this women's wrestling. They wanted it. And now they have it. And now WWE's backup is against the wall. And now you have the best storyline in wrestling going. And now they're going to be upset because they're saying, oh, you can't main event with the women this year. But you didn't main event with the women last year. So now the company are in a political position where they turn around and went, oh shit, we didn't have a women's main event last year. We canceled Becky and Bianca Belair, which was done 48 hours before the show, when Steve Austin decided that he was going to do a match. Mm-hmm. So Steve Austin ended up wrestling in the main event because, of course, he had to, because it's Steve Austin's return, and the women didn't main event. So last year, they said, we can never do this again. We've done it for Steve Austin. Next year, we must put the women in the main event because we must carry on with what we started, and we must do it because this is what's expected of us. And now, all of these fucking fans who caused all of this, now sitting there going, oh my God, like, how can Sammy and Kevin not be in the main event? Because of you fucking idiots. That's why. They can't do what they want to do, and they can't do what makes sense, because nothing has made sense for the last 5 fucking years because of you people who made it like this. You made them push the women, and now they have to put them in the main event. And you know what I'll be doing during that main event? I'll be going home because I won't be able to get a taxi when 70,000 people are trying to get one. So I'll get one during a match that I don't give a fuck about. So thank you for that.
Yeah, the forcing of a main event is always funny to me, where you're like, come on. It should be, like I said, that organic, if somebody's fans are into it, then it should end up a main event like Sammy and Owen should be. Well, that is the end of part 1. Yes, it was a very long podcast this week, so we decided to split it in 2. Just for your digestion. So part 2 is up. You don't have to wait for it. It is on the same thread. Just check it out. So hope you enjoyed part 1. Part 2 on the way.